Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I've been thinking a lot about the state of men, like I said in a previous video a while ago. And and I'm really disheartened by the state of men these days, especially the young men. It seems like the young men are stumbling around in the dark. They have no real purpose or energy to better themselves. I know in the last decade or so they've been browbeaten men, especially men of European descent. They've been beating us down to make us weak, to make our young men and boys weak. And the reason, in my belief, is because there will be no protection for the endless hordes that come into our lands, the hordes of darkness that come into our lands. And for those who want a virtue signal, these people do not share our values. They don't share our virtue. Some of these people rape babies. Some of these people still practice child marriage. Some of these people they don't see a woman or a girl as a person. They see women and girls as property and lesser than men. So this unholy alliance between feminists and Muslims is very suspicious at best. It's an unholy alliance. I just recently been reading Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. So maybe that's why I've been thinking about the state of young men lately. To all you young men out there that are struggling with their identity, struggling just emotionally beaten. I have a few suggestions. And one of them being, listen to Jordan Peterson's lectures. I know the left screams and hollers and says he's some misogynist, whatever. He's not a misogynist. He loves his wife and he has 2 daughters, and he's definitely not a misogynist. What he is a very wise man who has lived a very interesting life, and has many pearls of wisdom to share with the world. But my suggestions kind of parallel with Jordan Peterson's. But my first suggestion to young men and boys is abstain. Abstain from sex and pornography, and yes, that even means masturbation. If you really need to blast one off, use your imagination, don't watch porn. Because that will actually, in the long run, damage you and also destroy your masculine energy, because instant gratification is never good for male or female. But try to abstain. It is one of the greatest things you can do to focus your mind, to balance your strength, and to find courage and wisdom. Because you're actually building will and strength. But when you do meet someone that's special, you're better able to be the best you can for her. And you will be able to make love to her like nobody else. So she might stick around for a while. Because it realigns your chakra and it builds up your chi. That's why all the great monks that practice martial arts abstain from sex and self gratification, because sex is the greatest expression of love you can have with another person. It is the most physical act you can do with somebody, and if you love that somebody or really care deeply about them, like so emotionally deep, you will end up building chi together, and you'll end up just blowing your mind away. Like literally, you will be able to, because you've built up for quite a while, and it'll be like you were a virgin all over again. But don't waste your time. Don't waste your time with useless women that don't share your values. You know, it's very easy to find somebody to have sex with if that's all you want, but it's another thing to find somebody that you want to grow with and share with. And it's the same with women too. It's exactly the same with women too. Abstain. It's actually more important for women to abstain than men. Because I don't mean to disparage women, but it's not hard for you to find somebody to have sex with. Let's be honest. All a woman has to do is say I'm horny, and she'll have 10 guys there in 2 seconds. A man, it's a little bit more of a challenge to find a suitable partner. But especially women that give their body away to just any man who gives them a wink and a smile. They are affecting themselves emotionally. They're emotionally damaging themselves. Those women who've ridden the cock carousel for many years, they will never be able to love. They may love you for a while until they grow bored and tired, or their self-esteem starts sinking. So as a man, you must be more aware of who you decide to couple with, because especially in this age of ignorance, you can't just willy-nilly go with whoever. It's not conducive to a healthy life. It's not conducive to a healthy life. It's not conducive to building strength and wisdom. Yeah. So, from my experience, it is better to abstain from sex. Share that energy with somebody special. Don't just give it away. Rebuild the man inside, and that means rebuilding your pools of chi, and it means realigning the chakras between the mind and the soul. Abstaining is one of the greatest things you can do for your body, your mind, your soul. For men and women, it's not just men, but it's also women. Actually, I would go as far as to say that it's more prevalent that women abstain than men, because, like I said earlier, it's not hard for women to find somebody to have sex with. With that being said, men need to be as vigilant. They need to abstain from sex, and that even means masturbation. My second suggestion would be stop playing video games. Everybody loves video games. Yes, video games are good. I love them. Everybody loves them. But restrict your time with video games. Use that energy somewhere else. I suggest immerse yourself in work and hobbies to learn a new skill. To learn a new skill. To master that skill. Being good at a video game is not mastery of any kind of skill. No skill that's going to be useful in your life anyway. So if you're giving a lot of energy to becoming very good at a video game, basically you're wasting your time. So for all you young men out there, stop playing video games. Or greatly reduce the amount of time you play video games. Not only is it overstimulus of the mind, but it's also a mindless waste of your time. Because video games are designed a specific way to actually shut off certain aspects of your brain to rewire it in a certain way, so cognitive thought actually decreases. If you play a lot of video games, your cognitive thinking goes away. And as much as I love video games, I grew up playing video games. That's true enough. I've been playing video games for as long as I've lived on this planet, and I love them. But I also wasted a lot of my time, a lot of my life, playing a certain video game that actually destroyed my life because I was addicted to that specific video game. And before I knew it, I wasted 3 years of my life playing a fucking video game. I lost my job. I lost my house. It was a point where I needed to go and say, wow, gee whiz, that was a huge waste of time. And to be honest, I've never recovered from it. It's not the video game's fault so much. It is and it isn't, because they made the video game so addictive that I couldn't get away from it. I would spend every waking moment of my life playing that game. 14, 15, 16-hour days just playing a fucking video game. Not eating, not sleeping properly, So after that point in my life, I decided that I need to greatly reduce the amount of video games that I play. It's not that video games are bad. They're actually good for your hand-eye coordination, and they're good for they're good for certain things in your mind, to exercise certain aspects of your mind, like first of all, hand-eye coordination and awareness, spatial awareness. It's really good for spatial awareness. But and I still love playing video games to this day, but as a young man, you need to focus more on things that are going to make you more suitable for a partner. So that means shutting off video games and immerse yourself in work, whatever it is, whatever your work is. You can be flipping burgers at McDonald's, but be the very best burger flipper you can possibly be. Because you'll gain a skill, and if you use that energy to focus your energy and be the very best burger flipper that McDonald's has ever known, eventually they will see your work ethic and make you a manager, if that's your goal in life, which I hope it's not. And your hobbies. If you're really into tabletop gaming, or you're into tabletop gaming like Warhammer 40K, or just Sigma, or Dungeons and Dragons, or whatever, really immerse yourself in that hobby and gain skills by playing that hobby. Even simplest games like playing a game of Monopoly, other than playing a game of Gears of War, say, or Assassin's Creed, you will gain more cognitive ability by playing a game of Monopoly than you'll ever gain from playing Gears of War or Assassin's Creed. And Monopoly is a pretty simple game, let's be honest. It's a pretty simple game, but there's still a point to it in strategy. So it rewires your brain to think more logically and more cognitively and more into the future, kind of planning ahead. So yes, my second suggestion for young men right now would be turn off video games and find more useful skills and hobbies, like painting miniatures or building props for tabletop games, or even just playing tabletop games in general, like Risk or Axis and Allies, or anything that makes you have to socialize with other people and cooperate with them. It's an incredibly important skill to learn for real life as you grow older, to learn these skills, how to manage money. For instance, Monopoly teaches you at the very base level how to manage money. Like that's the simplest thing you could possibly learn in life, since the school systems don't teach you how to manage money. Monopoly, in its essence, teaches you how to manage money, and that's an important skill to have. But unfortunately, in this age of ignorance, a lot of people just don't play board games anymore, or tabletop games, because it's so much easier just to plug in a disc or download something from Steam and just waste 12 hours of your life playing a fucking video game. I'm not disparaging video games. I love them. Trust me, I love video games. I love them to death. I love playing video games, but I've also learned the hard way that it can't dominate your life. So my third suggestion for the young men of today is learn how to defend yourself. Learn a martial art. Go to boxing or whatever, or jiu-jitsu or taekwondo or kung fu classes or karate classes. Really learn how to defend yourself and protect yourself to gain strength. Because the deeper teachings of certain aspects of martial arts, like kung fu especially, and even karate, and the deeper teachings of kung fu especially is balancing chi and using chi to align your chakras and to become aware and to be one with your body, mind, and soul. So it's incredible importance, especially in this age of weak men, that it's important that we learn a skill that may defend us or even save our lives against the onslaught of incoming hordes of darkness. The Asian martial arts are the greatest lessons that I have ever learned. And also read the Book of Five Rings. It will inspire you to master your skill. Read Sun Tzu. It will also inspire you to master your skill. So, rule number one, suggestion number one that I've made is read Jordan Peterson, listen to his lectures, and practice abstinence. 2 is immerse yourself in your work, no matter what it is you're doing. Become the greatest burger flipper ever in the history of burger flipping. Immerse yourself in your work and your hobbies. That is incredibly important to become skillful in your trade and your hobby. It's incredibly important in this age of ignorance where men have lost their way. It's important to become a master of your own realm. Thirdly, well, I did have a third one, and I said it, so I'll have to go back and look, but learn martial arts, that's what it was. Learn how to defend yourself. Learn how to fight. I know they want to make men weak, but learn how to fight. Because the number one rule of any real martial art teaching is learn how to fight so you don't have to. That's really what it comes down to in the end. Learn how to fight so you don't have to. And master those skills. Because there will come a time when you'll need them, trust me. Number 4, my suggestion for young men out there in the world that are struggling. Forgive your mother. That's one of the greatest lessons I've learned recently, actually. Thank you, Jesse Lee. But yes, forgive your mother. Try to reignite your relationship with the males of your family, uncles, your father, your brother. Try to immerse yourself in male activities. Like, what's male activities nowadays? Like, learn how to hunt, learn how to fish, learn how to freaking tie knots, learn how to build a fire, learn how to cook. Cooking is one of the greatest things you can do for your partner, actually, trust me. Talking from experience, if you're a good cook and you're in a relationship with a girl, or even just dating a girl, and you can cook her a fantastic meal, you're getting a little something all night long. Woo! As long as you provide the atmosphere and she ain't some thought just looking for a free meal. But anyways, learn how to cook. It's one of the most masculine things you can do, actually. One of the greatest things you can do as a man, maybe I'm a bit biased, but is learn how to cook. It will bring you so much success in life. You know, maybe not financially, but if you're a man and knows how to cook, a lot of women will just take their panties off for you, and yeah. But that kind of goes against the first rule as abstinence, right? But my suggestion for number 4 is try to find groups of men other than sitting in the bar or whatever. Find men who are working in the shops, and find men who are entrepreneurs. Find men who hunt and fish and are rugged and stoic. Find men to basically guide you for your young men that have struggled and are struggling to find an identity. Find those men. Learn a new skill. Either be in the garage or just talking to an old fella who ties flies for a hobby. You know, these are important skills to have, actually. Find older men. Maybe make a visit to the old folks home. Well, not the old folks home, but that old guy across the street who's lived in his house for 50 years, and his family's long gone, his wife's dead. Maybe go talk to him, unless he's a creepy creep. But a lot of the time, these old men, they have so much pearls of wisdom that they can teach, and they're more than happy to teach. They're more than happy to share. So my suggestion, my 4th suggestion for young men right now in this age of ignorance, is seek out older men who are doing things, who are building things, making things, just as a hobby, And I think my 5th suggestion for young men is learn how to take care of animals. Because if you can't take care of animals, then you really can't take care of yourself. It's very simple. It seems a very arbitrary thing, but taking care of animals is like a very important aspect of growth. Because you get to a point where if you're not taking care of things, like even plants, it's you're not really nurturing your need to protect and to teach, because even if you get a puppy, you still got to teach it, and you got to teach it how to not pee and poop on the floor, and you got to make sure that the animal's taken care of, and he has food and water, and his needs are met. And this can go to the dating circle too. If you're dating a woman, if you're in the dating scene and you meet a woman that doesn't have a pet or a plant, anything, even a goldfish, you probably should just pump her and dump her, because the bottom line is that she ain't gonna look after you. But on the same hand, when you do meet a woman who knows that you have cats and plants and stuff, knows that you take care of your plants and it's like Jordan Peterson says, you got to keep your own house in order. So when you are in the dating scene, the good women will see that you have your house in order, and they're going to be more likely to think of you as more than just a friend. They're going to think of you as maybe somebody who can support them and take care of them, because you can take care of pets and you can take care of plants. It's a very arbitrary thing, but it goes both ways. Women see a man who doesn't have a plant or pets. She's thinking to herself, well, what's going on with this guy? Like, why doesn't he have plants or pets? Like, is he selfish? Is he just ignorant? Does he not keep his house in order? But it's the same for men. Men need to think about these things. You know, she could be beautiful, but if she doesn't have a plant or a pet, even a goldfish or whatever, a plant, like even a cactus, that cactus still needs to be watered at least once in a while. So she has to have enough self-awareness to know that that plant needs water. So, yeah, you know, always surround yourself with things that may need your care. Either it be a plant, a cat, a dog, a fish. Like Jordan Peterson says, keep your house in order. And also, for the young men out there, don't lose hope. I know the mainstream media, the lamestream mainstream media, from Hollywood to wherever, you know, they're disparaging men who look like me. They are attacking men and browbeating us to the point where we're committing suicide at like 75% higher than any other race on the planet. Young men have lost their way, their purpose, and the world seems dark and cold, and you're unwanted. But the one thing that MGTOW has taught me is that it doesn't matter. You read the 12 Simple Rules of Life, 12 Rules of Life from Jordan Peterson. Read the Book of Five Rings. Read Sun Tzu. Learn how to cook. That's a big one. Learn how to cook. Not only for yourself, but so you can, be healthy and strong. That's really an important skill to learn, is cooking. But read these books. 12 Rules of Life from Jordan Peterson. Sun Tzu. And the Book of Five Rings. There's many others you can read as well. But these books that I'm suggesting are some of the greatest books I've ever read, and really helped me emotionally and helped me figure out certain aspects of reality. So I'm passing down this wisdom to whoever might be watching, which is nobody, but maybe, you never know. Follow these 5 simple suggestions and you'll see a great growth in your courage. And I can't forget the most important thing of all to all young men is seek out the stories of your ancestral gods. And if you're not really into it, find your way back to God. That is a big thing to do, because everything else is just a suggestion. But if you really, really want to find harmony within your spirit and your soul, and you want to regain your masculine energy, then seek it within your ancestral gods and God. I know it sounds crazy, and I know it's kind of hard these days in this age of ignorance, but it's incredibly important to rebuild a relationship with your ancestors and your ancestral gods. It is incredibly important. And I think that would have to be the greatest suggestion that I would make to anyone, male, female, don't matter, anyone, is reconnect with God or the gods. There's too much to know to do it on our own. So, live and light.